Hello. This is sort of the narration version of the PowerPoint that goes with our community of learners PowerPoint. So let me pull that up. This is on Blackboard for you to read as well. And here we go. So when we're talking about a classroom community, we're just talking about a respectful place where children can identify and manage their emotions, develop empathy, develop friendships, and develop problem-solving skills. Because when you have, depending on what grade you're teaching, if you're in the early grades, like the 4s and the 5s and the 6s, you're going to have children who have not learned how to manage their emotions. You may have children that don't even know how to label their emotions. You're not going to have a very empathetic group, because honestly, empathy is not something people are born with. It's something that's learned. And yes, it's learned at home, but sometimes children don't learn a lot of empathy at home, and it's up to the teacher to build that knowledge base. Develop friendships, very important, because I don't know about you, but in my class, I had kids all the time hanging on me at recess because, oh, Ms. Ede, no one wants to play with me. It's not that no one wanted to play with them, honestly, but they had no idea how to join a group of children and play. And you have to learn how to be a friend in order to make a friend. So it's up to you to teach that. And then problem-solving skills. Again, people are not born problem solvers. They're really not. That is a learned skill by watching others. You have to model it and teach children how to solve problems, how to solve them effectively, like not punch each other. Okay, so more detailed follow here. First of all, if you're teaching the really young ones, make sure that you teach them how to read faces. I mean, look at the person next to you. What does their face look like when you say something to them? Are they happy? Are they smiling? Do they look sad? Teach those words. So if you pull this website up, you're going to have all kinds of great free resources for teaching children about emotions. Just thought I'd include that. You know, teachers like freebies. Okay, you might play emotions, memory, and matching games. You know, this is great for a center. I would, if you plan on doing this, make sure you laminate this stuff, or it's not going to last past a week. You could use an emotions check-in chart. I really like this, where you have the kids' pictures, where you can't see it here, but they're real little pictures, and their name on a clothespin. Put the clothespin in a basket. When they walk in the morning, they just put their name, clothespin, next to whichever feeling picture best suits them that morning. You know, the beauty of this is it's an attendance collection. And that way, all you have to just look and see where, you know, who's left in the basket, you know, they're absent. If you were in my classroom right now, I'd get my rocks out, because this is something I had for a center. And, you know, you just cost you nothing, okay? You collect some nice flat rocks. We call them river rocks. And get permanent marker and draw pieces of faces like mouths, nose, eyes. Some people get fancy and put ears. And then get some paper. And you can get, personally, I would get the paper in different colors. This is a picture that I took from the internet, but in my classroom, I would have multicultural colors for the background so children could self-identify. Better than that, make sure that the paper is laminated. Again, it's not worth anything if, you know, it's destroyed after a day or two. You can use emotions eggs. This is a fun activity, and this is a great time of year to get eggs. You can go to the dollar store and stock up for a center and literally take them apart so that they can mix and match emotions and just talk about it. You could do Play-Doh emotions, and this is really a fun one. You can get these multicultural just faces online, run them off, laminate them, and then have children make faces with Play-Doh. It's a great way to get children to talk about how they feel. And that's really important because not all children feel free to share how they feel. A lot of children have been told to hold their feelings inside. I mean, that's just the truth. And they're afraid to show their anger or say, I'm mad, when they should feel fine about being mad. It's how you express being mad that can be a problem. There's nothing wrong with being mad. I highly recommend building a stock of good books about emotions, and these are some good ones. And I hope you're able to get some of these. Another good thing to do is play feelings bingo. That just gets those feelings out there, and you talk about feelings. You can talk about how emotions aren't always the same, and things don't always look exactly the way you think they should look. It's great to read stories from a different perspective, a different point of view. I particularly like this, the true story of the Three Little Pigs, where, you know, the wolf pretends he's really a good guy. And in this one here, the Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig, the wolves are really the good, innocent little wolves, and the big bad pig is the bad guy. Just teach children to have a little bit of a different perspective, because it does make them more accepting of other perspectives. You know, people don't always think just like you do. Some people have different opinions. And then there's the no one wants to play with me. Oh my goodness, if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd be rich. So teach steps of initiating play. How do you get someone to even pay attention to you? Well, you could gently just tap them on their shoulder. Hi, would you like to play with me? I know this sounds really basic, but some children do not know how to do this. Role model, just role model. You could gently take a friend by the hand. If you could give a friend a toy or something else to share that they might want to play with from the classroom. I'm not talking about bringing gifts from home. Teach them to be supportive, to give their friend a gentle hug or high five or a thumbs up. Great job. Be positive. I like this particular game where you have them all sit in a big circle and have their all foot to foot to foot to foot. And then you'll have to say, I like the way you can start this off because you're part of that circle. Pick one child to go after you. They'll be the first child. And they say, Jason, I like the way you. And they have to come up with a positive comment. And once the child has a positive comment aimed at them, then they get to crisscross applesauce, so they're not going to be complimented again. And they get to pick someone else to compliment, so that everyone in the circle has a compliment that day. One of the activities that I really like is I like to teach children that words really can be hurtful. I mean, no matter how often you say, I'm sorry. Say, for instance, you've got your 6-year-old walking by the art center and he looks down at Susie Q's art and says, oh, that's ugly. Well, you know, next thing you know, Susie Q is going to just be in tears, or she's going to put a big X through her picture, or she might crumple it up, but she's not going to feel good about it. And no matter how often he comes and says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, it's beautiful, what's going to stick in her brain is, that's ugly. Just saying, words hurt. So one way to illustrate that is take any old piece of junk paper, crumple it up in a ball, and then have them stomp on it, have them smush it with their fist, and then have them smooth it out, just as smooth as can be. And I always say, does it look brand new? Do you see any scars on there? Does it still look crumpled? And they're all going, oh yeah, it looks bad, yeah. I would say that is what your feelings look like after somebody says something ugly to you. Your feelings never look real smooth and happy about that particular situation. So that's kind of a visual form on words being important. You know, you're going to have to teach turn taking. If you're teaching 4s, 5s, and 6s, you have got to teach turn taking. When I taught first grade, one of the first things I did was taking turns at the water fountain, because we'd have one water fountain. We had 250 kids down our hallway, so we had to line up for our water breaks. And so when we came in from recess and they needed a drink of water, and this is before the days of having water allowed in the room, so we would line up, and without fail at the beginning, someone in the back of the line would go boom and push. And you know, it's like dominoes, they're all going forward, and the poor kid in the very front would have his teeth meeting the water fountain. So you don't want to have that. So you teach turn taking, you teach waiting in line. I literally modeled how to do that. And you know, you can play games, all kinds of games are great for teaching turn taking. You can also read books, and I have some great books here that teach turn taking. I know it sounds real simple, but early childhood is all about teaching children how to get along with others. Practice your group conversational skills. I had talking sticks, you know, I had tongue depressors, had their names written on it, but I had them real low down here so I couldn't see the names, and I had them in a can. So I'd literally just pull the names out willy-nilly. It worked for me, but I made sure I told children, if I pull your name out and you don't want to answer that question, you can always say I pass, so that it wasn't a high stress kind of thing. Some people have a talking stick, like a rain stick that they pass around. And if you have the talking stick, you can respond. Some people use thumbs up or thumbs down. That's good too. I've seen people with individual whiteboards where the kids either draw a response or write a response. That whatever works for you, I say is great, but have some way of teaching group conversation skills. What you don't want is everybody talking once, because then no one's heard, or having just one or two people called on, because then the rest still aren't heard. You want to really encourage everyone to have an opportunity to respond. More turn taking. You have to use turn taking language. Sometimes it's my turn now, then it's your turn, now my turn, your turn. This is a nice link for you to explore on that. You might do a sharing mural. Classroom murals are a lot of fun. I would do it every now and then. I'd get that great big butcher paper that they have in the teacher's workroom and just get a piece big enough, say, for your door, and then have them do a spring mural. I literally have 4 in that art center at a time. I have it divided up into 4 boxes, and you know, each group does their own piece on there. So much fun, so much fun. Sometimes people say it helps to limit the amount of materials, so they literally have to share and practice those sharing skills. All good. Collaborative games like Follow the Leader, great way to teach collaboration, listening skills. Parachute games, lots of fun in this field. Write the never-ending story. This is a ton of fun. If you're doing 2nd and 3rd grade, give them a story starter. And then literally have a timer and have teams. And every student on a team has 1 minute to write. Each teammate that follows has to read what was written and add to the story for the next minute. And then have them select a reader, and at the end, the reader for the team reads the story. I love stuff like that. You can start out with, it was a dark and stormy night. And then they have to follow whatever it is. You can make it real mysterious and fun, but second and third graders love this activity. Relay races are fun. Problem solving strategies. You know, some children, the only way they know how to solve a problem is, and that's not good. But if you're teaching very young children, you will have those children in your classroom. You have to literally teach them. Let's think about the problem. What are some ways we could fix that problem? What would happen if I did this? What would happen if I did that? They have to think ahead a little bit. It's like playing chess. And then let me try the solution that I think will work best. Modeling. Here, just a potential way of modeling. Scripted stories are great. I love Tucker Turtle. He's a great way to teach very young children about thinking before they do. You can click on this and get your own free version. Persona dolls, I've always pushed using persona dolls, and I don't say buy the expensive variety. You don't need to get the $300 doll. Go to Walmart, get yourself a $10 doll, just as good. But it can't be a baby doll. It's got to be a doll that looks like it could go to school. And you're dressing it in clothes like it would go to school. And then just put that doll on your lap and give the doll a name. And, you know, Susie Q. Why are you so sad today? Oh, someone said what to you on the playground? Oh, well, boys and girls, have them all sitting in a circle around you. What do you think we should do for Susie Q? How can we prevent this from happening again? It takes the situation away from, pointing a finger at Junior who said something to another kid and made them upset. The doll is the one that's upset. And how could we solve this as a community, as a group? This is a really good way of getting children to solve classroom problems together without pointing the finger. And this is a video, short video, and you see a teacher, well, actually several teachers actually putting this into practice for problems she's having in her classroom. Okay, I always say include pictures of family and on your in your room. You want the kids to have somewhere to look in their cubby or wherever it is on the family wall. This is my desk down here. And, every now and then I'm having kind of a stressful day and I'll look over at these folks and go, oh, my family. No matter what happens, these people always have my back. I just love them to pieces and I know they love me and don't have to worry about a thing. But kids are like that too. They have to have that family connection for when they feel stressed or they might be having a bad day. Of course, those of you who have had me in 4563 classroom management have heard me go on and on and on about the importance of a predictable schedule, one the children can read, not one the teacher reads that's in a 10 font hanging by her door. It's useless. Don't even bother with that one. You need something that children can read and follow along, have a clothespin here that your time helper can adjust for you as they're going down, so everyone knows when are we going to eat, when do we go home, when do we go outside for recess, all those important highlights. Because when you're 4 years old and you can't read and you're wondering when you get to eat because your stomach's growling, let me tell you, you're under stress. And when children are under stress, they're not learning and they're not going to be collaborating with people in the classroom. You need a predictable schedule. Establish your rules together. People are always much more apt to follow rules that they've helped make. When you meet for the first time in your whole group, when day one of school, make sure you say, boys and girls, what do we need to do to be safe in this classroom? And you're going to get a million don'ts, don't hit, don't kick, don't spit, don't pinch. And I do write all that down. But then when I'm done, I read through it and I go, gosh, you know what, boys and girls, this is a long list of don'ts. How about if you give me a couple of do's? Well, how do you want people to act so that you are safe? And narrow it down to just a couple of things. Use your walking feet, treat people kindly, stuff like that, 2 or 3. Then have everyone sign it. Read it out loud, have everyone sign it. No, the 4s won't know how to sign, but have them make a pretty X. And review it. Review it, repeat it every morning. If someone doesn't follow the rules, walk them over there and say, let's review the rules. Over and over. Some of the things you're going to have procedures for. Bear it in mind. You'll have to think about it, how you're going to handle it before they get there. Celebrations. This right here is a great little website for, you have to have some kind of celebration when it's someone's birthday. That's a special time. So this will help you with that. Group jigsaw is always a fun one. Have children write their names on on a jigsaw piece and illustrate something special about them, and then reassemble it until you have your whole jigsaw put together. You can put it up on the wall, and that's your group. This here, I'll tell you what, if you want to read something great on group work, get a book by Kagan, Kagan. It's really great on taking turns, because there are instructions in there for teaching group work. For instance, they'll say, pick a captain, pick a timekeeper, pick a recorder, and a reporter, someone who reports out. So everyone has a job. If you were in my classroom right now, I would do that, and I would have each group pick a topic, and then they would have to discuss. Children's ideas are right here. I'll let you look at that on your own. If you're teaching 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, instead of always having a tattling thing, have a tootling thing instead, where they have sticky paper and a pencil, and they write down some positive things about somebody. Tootling is great. Guess who paper balls are great. Write 3 clues about yourself on a piece of paper, toss it in the basket, and then they have to choose a paper ball from the basket and read the clues out loud and try to guess who the writer is. Always a fun getting to know you activity if you're teaching 2nd and 3rd grade. You can have children work together toward a reward. Pair students together to make a Venn diagram. I like this. I wish my teacher knew, or I wish my classmates knew. These are kind of like exit tickets that you can use in your classroom. The never-ending story, and we've talked about this before. It's just basically like the other one. There was a loud crash, and then last but not least, avoid the pitfalls. If you're in the middle of your school year and you go to the best workshop ever and you want to implement everything that you just learned, don't. Just maybe one change. Children hate change in the middle of the year, and so don't change things up too much once you've got the year established. Never assume children know what to do, because they can't read your mind. You're going to have to teach them how you want them to line up, how you want them to come to group, how you want them to go to centers, how you want them to go down the hallway, how you want them to come in from the playground. You have to teach that, because they just can't read your mind. Adhering to the plan too rigidly, as teachers, we know things always change. So be flexible. It's all I can tell you, because the day's never going to go exactly like you had it planned. Directing, not guiding. You're the guide, not the director. Honestly, you really are. You're there to guide their learning, but give them some freedom and independence. Coercion never works. And neither do negative comparisons. One of the things that grate on me, and I see it all the time, is when you look at a couple of kids and one is doing the right thing, the other two maybe not so much. And you go, oh, I love the way Susie is sitting. To me, that's negative and coercive. Because you know what, it points out that, you know, Susie is just, she's the best one in the bunch. And that never helps Susie. And the other ones never feel good about it either. So it's much better if you have one that's doing the right thing and the other three that aren't. Just look at the whole bunch and say, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to do. Be honest, I need you to do X, Y, Z. And the one that's already doing it, say, thank you for following my instructions. That's all you need to say. You don't need to point out how great Susie Q is, because you don't want her to be labeled the teacher's pet. That doesn't do anybody any good. Just, I need you to do, period. And then just thank them. Say, thank you for following the directions. That's it. Okay. I hope this is helpful to you. If you have any questions, please let me know. We'll set up a Zoom. Bye.